Hello and welcome back to the Third Rail. We have a new addition to the collection this week. I just received this BB9200 locomotive of the SNCF, the French National Railways, and I thought we should have a first look at it together. Let's start with a quick model overview as usual. This model is a Märklin 3165. It was added to the Märklin standard program in 1982. You can find it on page 32 of the catalogue that year. It remained on sale in the standard program until 1986. The model then disappeared from all catalogues but remained available for sale in France only until 1988. On to a few vital statistics. The model measures 18 centimeters buffer to buffer. It is a complete metal construction, that's body and chassis. It is equipped with an electromechanical reverser that controls a 3-pole motor, that's the drum collector type, driving 2 axles equipped with 4 traction tires. We have electric headlights on both sides, which are non-directional, so always on. The model is fitted with working pantographs, and the hook couplings have a pre-uncoupler for remote uncoupling operations. Now let's have a high-level overview of the prototype for context. The model represents a BB9200 of the SNCF, the French National Railway Company. This class of locomotives was built for the 1500-volt network in the southeast and southwest of France. As a note, anything below Paris is considered the south in France. The locomotive could reach a maximum speed of 160 km per hour in standard configuration. All in all, 92 units were produced between 1957 and 1964. The locomotive immediately took over the most prestigious trains between Paris and the south of France. Le Mistral, le Train Bleu, Simplon-Orient Express, Rome Express, and from 1967 the legendary Le Capitole between Paris and Toulouse. 6 BB9200s were modified to operate at speeds of 200 km per hour for this train. They were painted in a red livery and equipped with single-arm pantographs. This made the Le Capitole the first 200 km per hour passenger rail service in the world. 2 of the BB9200s that were assigned to Le Capitole could even reach speeds of 250 km per hour, but this capability was not used in regular service. These glamorous times didn't last very long. As soon as 1968, the BB9300, an upgraded version of the 9200, took over in front of some of the flagship trains. In 1970, the Le Capitole machines were replaced by the then new CC6500. The BB9200 was first reassigned to slower passenger services. Then, with the arrival of the BB7200 in the mid-1970s, the class was progressively reallocated to regional, commuter and freight services across the southeast and southwest of France. The TGV accelerated the process in the 1980s. Over the course of their long career, the BB9200s underwent minor modifications. Some were retrofitted for push-pull services, skirts were removed, cabs were modernized, etc., etc. They also received a large number of liveries, more than 10 I believe. I find the SNCF liveries can be quite confusing, so I will simplify it a maximum, but be aware that there are variations of each livery type. Their original livery was green, with the exception of the Le Capitole machines, which were painted red. In 1975, a few units were painted in the new Corail livery, in time for the arrival of the then new Corail coaches. Most of these units were ex-Le Capitole machines. From 1976 to 1996, a lot of units received the Béton livery. That's a grey livery with some orange notes. Again, this livery was applied in various flavors. Between 1996 and 2001, a few machines received the multi-service livery, and then in 2000, machines assigned to the freight activity received a new green frais livery. Finally, some machines received the En Voyage livery in 2003. By the year 2000, several units had travelled over 10 million kilometres. The withdrawal at scale of the BB9200 started in 2003, and the last unit left service in 2010. Our prototype entered service in 1964 and was withdrawn in 2004. There is at least one unit in preservation today, which is kept at the Cité du Train in Mulhouse in the east of France. This completes the high-level overview of the prototype. You'll find credits and links to useful information in the video description down below as usual. Right, we've finally reached the stage where we can have a look at my 3165 now. I purchased this model from a shop I use from time to time. The model was described as being in near mint condition with no mention whatsoever of servicing. The model is in its original box. The box itself is in very good shape. It has a few storage marks here and there, but nothing worth complaining about. Let's have a look inside now. We have a set of original instructions. That's good. Oh, the model looks good already. Let me take it out of the box. Yes, not bad at all. Right, let me grab a presentation rail and we'll have a closer look. There we are. Well, the seller didn't lie at all. The model is in what I would consider pristine condition cosmetically. I cannot see any scratch anywhere. The cab areas are in lovely shape with their old-fashioned grey windows. The model is based on a tooling used since the 1960s, so we cannot expect a masterpiece as far as detailing is concerned. But I find the Aubrais livery very nicely executed. The only imperfection I can see is some yellowed glue residues under the decals with the coat of arms on each side of the model. Looking towards the roof, there again, everything is in perfect condition. The pantographs are undamaged and operational. Excellent. Time for a test run, I think. Let's move to the layout. There we are. I'm going to rail the model. There we go. I'll try and get the wheels in the right place. That's it, we're done. Let me readjust the shot. Okay, I'll give the locomotive a bit of power now. The reverser is working. So are the lights. And it moves. Great! So, let's try a test round. I'm going to give it a little power and see how this goes. It is struggling a bit. It doesn't sound very healthy. And it stops where it should slow down. I'm going to let it go another round. See if this improves things. No. So, we are in need of a serious service. I'll do this now. So this model uses a chassis that is similar to most electric and diesel locomotives made by Märklin since the 1960s. It's almost identical to the Märklin 3038 as the same tooling was used. The only difference being the motor, technically. So we are dealing with a very traditional arrangement with its near agricultural quality. So what's wrong with this model? Well, we have two loose traction tires and one of the worst case of resinification I have ever seen. It's a sign that the model spent most of its life upright in storage and has not been used much, if at all. Look at the state of the threads and the screw hole for the motor bogie clamp. If we look at the gears in the motor houses, the situation is not better. So it just needs a quick clean with IPA. And after that, everything is moving freely again. Then it's just a matter of doing a bit of lubrication, reassemble the model, and we are ready for a quick function check. So I'll apply a bit of power. We are moving, we are reversing, and the locomotive is already a bit more responsive. Excellent. So I'm going to send it on the track, and then we'll have a look at its behavior now. We'll follow it along the track. Let's see how the braking sections in the station go. Yeah, that's fine, that's low speed now. Excellent. The locomotive just needs a good run-in now. So I'll do that, and this gives us time to look at what cars from the 1980s Märklin program we could use with this locomotive. Unfortunately, there was nothing prototypical, so we can only approximate. Märklin released first-class Eurofima type coaches in Aubrais livery the same year as the 3165. There were about 100 of such cars used at the SNCF, but it is very unlikely that they were ever seen behind a 9200 of this type. Nevertheless, the model number for the coaches is 4161. In 1989, Märklin released the 4170 as a special series for France. It's a second-class Eurofima type coach again, in Aubrais livery, but the SNCF never used this type of coach at all. So Märklin obviously didn't consider the French market valuable enough or important enough to warrant a bit of effort. French Märklin fan would have had to look at Jouef or Lima at the time for something closer to the prototype. I have both types of coaches in the collection, so I got a few out. The 4170s are virtually unobtainium. You do find a solitary one here and there from time to time, usually as part of a rake of 4161s, but I was lucky enough recently to stumble across a lot of 3, so I pounced. So we now have a nice 6-coach Aubrais train on the track. I think I've got the order of the second and first class mixed up, but the consist still looks good. Let's have a quick go around the ground loop to check everything can negotiate the turnouts okay. I might need to fix a coupling or two. Now it's all pretty uneventful. And we're back at the station. Excellent. Right, we're ready for the main line. Let me set the route. And off we go. The transformer is set at 120, 125. First curve is okay. I can't explain it, but I think the locomotive performance is still not quite right. It does need a bit more time running in, I think. I think the performance will improve over time. Okay, we're getting to the bridge. Hey, not bad for a 6-coach train. Excellent. So I'm going to let the locomotive do all the talking now for a few rounds, and I'll rejoin you at the end of the video. Enjoy the sound of the M track in the meantime. Well, I think it wasn't a bad purchase, and the coaches look very good, even though they're not prototypical. Uh, they look pretty. I like them. So, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. It's very much appreciated. I'd also like to thank you for all the subscriptions, shares, likes, comments you've been giving me. I found this very motivating, it keeps me going, and it also helps the channel in reaching a wider audience. Thank you very much again for this. Bye for now.